Oh, good morning. It is Monday, January the 15th. Come on in. We'll try and warm you up. Here's what we're working on this morning. There's a fatal collision that shut down part of the 403 near Burlington. It has since reopened.
City of Hamilton has issued a cold weather alert.
And Ariana Grande has dropped the new single music video for the first solo release in 33 years. Yeah, so walked outside and it's just like I wanted to turn right around and walk right back inside because, wow, it is dangerously cold, Brian.
Yeah, that's why we have a cold weather alert issued.
Yeah.
It's dangerously cold. Warming centers have been open because wind chill. I mean, it's not just the cold, it's the wind that has been relentless. We had wind gusts to about 65 kilometers an hour yesterday, and that was a brutal wind chills. And we have a wind chill right now down around minus 20. So it's a very cold start to the morning. And a temperature at the moment is sitting at minus 15. So when you factor in the winds, yeah, it's a brutally cold start to the morning. We had a definitely cold weekend, of course, with that snowstorm that went by. There were a lot of people on Saturday going, hey, where's the snow? You said there was going to be snow. Oh, yeah, well, they just had to wait a little while longer before it hit them because a lot of places really got snowed in. I had a picture sent from Wyerton. They had 40 centimeters of snow. And, of course, that's going to continue because of the snow squalls coming off the lake. A lot of areas could get up to 50 centimeters of snow and snow squalls. But for us, a mix of sun and clouds. Today's high is going to hit about minus 10. Wind chill values later on this afternoon, minus 18. So it's going to be a brutally cold day and a brutally cold week, and we'll talk about that coming up. I want to check traffic this morning because we have had some problems. The 403 is moving fine now. We had a complete closure throughout the overnight hours with a serious collision. But right now, as you can see, it's doing fine in both directions. Let's go to some MTO traffic cameras. We have a disabled vehicle heading toward the top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge. So you're coming past Woodward, past Eastport, up toward the top, Toronto bound. You can see the right shoulder, well, what there is of it, and the right lane is blocked with that disabled vehicle. Otherwise, not a lot. Miller Road, Stony Creek looks good. We'll flip ahead to east of Brant. Not a lot happening right now, but please take it carefully. You're going to need to stay warm. Your car's going to need to warm up a little bit, so be careful this morning because it's dangerously cold. We'll give you details, weather, and traffic coming up right now. The news.
Yeah, that's our top story this morning, Brian. Cold right across Hamilton, right across the region with those frigid, chilly temperatures. Let's go to Simone Gavros, who was outside from one of the warming centers at Westmount Rec Center. So, how cold is it? How's it feel?
Hi, Tim. It's really cold out here. It's freezing. But that's why the city has issued this cold weather alert. It was issued yesterday for last night, and that's going to remain in effect until that cancellation notice is issued. But that's because we're experiencing those super cold temperatures into the minus 20s, as Brian has told us. Now, the city is reminding people to be sure that they are dressing in layers when it comes to this weather and protecting your exposed skin, like your face, ears, and hands, if you do have to go outside. But if you don't, be sure to stay inside. Now, with these cold temperatures, there are a number of warming centers available to those who are more vulnerable and experiencing homelessness. The city's warming bus was running all night, and it goes until 6 a.m. But there's select rec centers that are open with extended hours. There's the Westmount Rec Center here behind me, the Valley Park Rec Center in Stony Creek, and then Norman Pinky Lewis Rec Center near downtown. There's also multiple daytime and overnight drop-in centers as well, including at Good Shepherd Cathedral and the YWCA at Carol Ann's Place. Now, again, the city's cold weather alert is going to remain in effect until the city does cancel it. There's going to be that cancellation issue that would be noticed. But right now, we're experiencing these cold temperatures all week. Annette, I'll send things back over to you.
Okay, thanks very much. The OPP are investigating a fatal crash that shut down part of Highway 403 going eastbound into Burlington. Police closed the highway down around 11:30 last night, and it just reopened before 5 this morning. A freelancer tells CHCH News that there was a multi-vehicle collision and it involved a pedestrian. The details of the collision haven't been released. We have reached out to the OPP for more information.
Let's stay on the roads because charges have been laid after a tractor and truck collided on the QEW. This happened early Saturday morning around 1:30 in the morning near Trafalgar Road in Oakville. So the OPP say the farm tractor was driving very slowly on the shoulder of the highway when it was hit by a box truck. One of the tractor's back tires, it fell off. No one was seriously injured, but several vehicles hit the debris that was left behind. The person in the tractor has been charged with careless driving.
The Fire Marshal's office has been notified after a weekend fire in Port Colborne. It started late Saturday afternoon at the Canal View Apartments on King Street. A man was rescued from the three-story building and taken to hospital. There is no word on his condition. Construction crews spent much of the weekend trying to stabilize a house in Hamilton that's at risk of collapse. The house on Ferry Street has been under construction for months. Last week, an off-duty inspector noticed that it is starting to lean to one side, prompting the city of Hamilton to close a section of Ferry Street between John Street North and Catherine Street. 2 homes on either side have been evacuated with no word of when the people living there will be allowed back in. An animal rescue group is trying to help people living outside in the cold who have dogs.
Most owners provide for their animals before they provide for themselves, so I think the risk is probably higher for the humans than it is for dogs.
Rebel Dog Rescue in Hamilton and Niagara is gathering dog food donations to distribute to pet owners who are living on the street. They'll be distributing care packages in St. Catharines on January 21st and in Hamilton on January 28th. You can donate to rebeldogrescue.com. Well, a Second World War veteran celebrated his 100th birthday yesterday, and it was held fittingly at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum, where we have had the pleasure many times of talking with birthday boy George Stewart.
I woke up this morning and said, darn it all, I'm 100 years old. And I remember when I was 15.
Now, back in 1944, Stewart flew 50 operations in a plane known as the Mosquito with number 23 Squadron. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross, and he's been a familiar face at the museum and on our Remembrance Day specials there. It's always such a treat to talk to him. His secret to his long life and his 100th birthday, George says he didn't smoke, never smoked, and that's why he's alive today.
It's honestly one of the true highlights that I've had on this show,
Yes.
being able to talk to George each and every year. So listen, George, if you're watching this morning, happy birthday. Congratulations. All right, let's get into sports, and let's start on the ice. In Toronto, where the Maple Leafs had a rare Sunday night home game, which was delayed as Detroit had some travel issues getting to Toronto, some nasty weather and plane trouble. That didn't stop them from coming from behind for a big win.
Look out, here's Kopp a chance, scores! Andrew Kopp, Detroit, 1:40 to go.
Yeah, Andrew Kopp scored the go-ahead goal, but just over a minute to go, as you heard Chris Cuthbert talking about there in the third, beating Ilya Samsonov, who was making his return to the Leafs net after being placed on waivers and being sent down. He made 20 saves. He wasn't the reason the Leafs lost a third straight game on back-to-back nights at Scotiabank. Detroit, they scored 3 third-period goals to come back from 2-1 down. Now won 5 of 6 with a point in all of them. They're only a point back of the Leafs of the Atlantic. Leafs head west again and face the red-hot Oilers tomorrow night, who have won 10 straight games.
Here's Prescott over the middle. It's going to be picked off, and no one in front of him. Darnell Savage. Touchdown.
How about them Packers? Green Bay with the upset of Super Wildcard Weekend as they went into Dallas, shocked the Cowboys and their fans as Dak Prescott tossed 2 interceptions. That one taken to the house by Darnell Savage off the top there. QB Jordan Love, he was great. So was Aaron Jones. They did the rest. Jones ran in 3 touchdowns. Love, making his playoff debut, had 3 touchdown passes, snapping the Cowboys' 16-game home winning streak. They beat them 48-32. Green Bay now travels to San Francisco to battle the 49ers in the divisional round on Saturday night.
And a long yard. 2 for the touchdown. Goff looking to throw. Throws back to the end zone. Laporta! Touchdown Detroit again.
Yeah, in Detroit, Jared Goff tossed a touchdown pass to Sam Laporta, and the hometown Lions held off the LA Rams and their former QB, Matthew Stafford, 24-23 in this NFC wildcard matchup from Ford Field. First playoff win for the Lions in 32 years, ending a 9-game postseason losing streak, the longest in NFL history. It dated back to 1992. We'll actually have to wait to see who they'll play as we have one more NFC game tonight between the Eagles and Bucks in Tampa. And there was supposed to be a third game yesterday with the Bills hosting Pittsburgh at Highmark Stadium in Buffalo, but Mother Nature had other ideas. A state of emergency due to the whiteout conditions pushed the game to this afternoon. This is the scene at game time yesterday. Despite similar conditions today, the game will be going ahead as planned. This according to the NFL. The Bills were paying fans to shovel out the snow and have some fun in the snow, I guess, with tarps off. They're going to be something similar today to get all that snow out of the stands. Kickoff set to go at 4:30 this afternoon. Brr. All right, we have some live sports as the first tennis major of the year is back down under in Melbourne, the Australian Open. 3 Canadian men on court this morning. Milos Raonic in tough against 10th ranked and Aussie native Alex de Minaur. And after winning the first set in a tiebreak, he dropped the second and then had to retire in the third because of injury. Not sure exactly what the issue was, but he did not look good. Possibly the last time we see Milos on the court. Unfortunate situation there. News not any better for another Canadian who's been dealing with injury too. Denis Shapovalov, playing his first tourney since Wimbledon, was ousted in straight sets by 18-year-old qualifier Jakub Mensik of Czechia, 6-3, 7-5, 7-5. Now, Felix Auger-Aliassime is on court as of right now. He was up a set on Dominic Thiem. Leylah Fernandez, the only lady Canadian women's player, she is on court tomorrow.
Okay, it's 6:11. It is Monday morning again. We have a cold weather alert, and we are halfway through the month of January, and we are just now getting into real winter conditions. And you're going to notice it when you step outside this morning. We'll talk about the details on the weather coming up. First of all, look at traffic. 403 Waterdown Road, getting a little bit busier, but still, it's rolling along okay. Thankfully, everything's back to normal from that large collision we had last night. To our MTO traffic cameras, I want to show you the top of the Burlington Skyway Bridge. Toronto-bound lanes towards us, so you're coming up from west of Eastport. As you can see, the right shoulder right lane is blocked. It is a disabled vehicle. We're hearing a lot of word of disabled vehicles around because it is so cold. The cars don't like this cold temperature. Well, we don't either. But that's really all that's happening. Not a lot going on in St. Catharines. Flipping ahead to Millen Road all the way through east of Brant, Ford Plant, Mississauga through Etobicoke Creek, doing fine. Okay, let's get to our temperature this morning. The temperature has just fallen again. Minus 16 is the temperature. Then you factor in that wind. It's a southwest wind at 23. Makes it feel like minus 26 right now. Did I hear something from Emily over there? A little complaint? A little complaint, maybe? Yeah, I think we're all complaining about this. For school today, we're only going to climb to minus 10. Wind chill values about minus 18 later on. At least we'll see the sunshine, but that wind is going to continue as well. Snow squalls coming off of the lakes, as you can see. Some areas could get 40 to 50 centimeters of snow on these squalls. And notice into Buffalo, yeah, they're going to get another 10 to 15 centimeters of snow today for that game. We have a ridge of high to the south. And that wind is continuing to cross the Great Lakes strongly. I mean, we've had brutal wind chill values. That low going up the East Coast really isn't going to bother us, but we're looking at cold air to stay with us for today. Now today, when I say 10 centimeters there, I'm talking about the south shore of Niagara region, Simcoe, Cayuga, into Niagara Falls, could get 10 centimeters of snow with snow squalls for the day today, but brutally cold temperatures. Tonight, minus 11 to minus 13 degrees. Another, 2 centimeters of snow for generally the Horseshoe, but another 10 for Niagara, and that again is the south shore of the Niagara region, Simcoe, Cayuga, and Niagara Falls. And then tomorrow, 2 to 5 centimeters. We're looking at cold temperatures to continue, minus 7, minus 10, minus 9, and 8, and that's not even factoring the winds. So stepping out the door this morning, brutally cold, minus 16. Wind chill right now is minus 26 degrees. We'll look at the long-range forecast coming up in that 10.
Okay, let's check in with Emily, who's shivering over in our chit-chat corner.
Oh, look at
and
that
I'm like,
face.
I'm trying to scowl and I can't because last week I was at Laser Aesthetics, which you guys will see, and I got Botox.
Oh, nice.
So I can't even look angry. I'm like trying to scowl and I can't. Okay, Chit Chat. We've got some stuff. Ariana Grande came out with her first new single in 3 years. Where's she been? We'll talk a little bit about that. And Michael Jackson, brand new biopic.
Okay. Lots to get to there. We'll see you in the couch in a little bit. Taking a break right now. Business news after this, because the World Economic Forum has kicked off in Davos, Switzerland. We will tell you what's on the agenda. See you in 2. Here's the numbers for you on this Monday morning. 6:17 is the time. Canadian dollar is down 8 basis points, sitting at 74.51 cents US. Gold up $6.20, 57.16 ounce. Crude oil up, down actually 57 cents, 72.11 a barrel. Off to Europe we go. Hey, Europe markets are down in London, Frankfurt, and Paris.
In Asia today, the markets were up in Tokyo and Shanghai, but down in Hong Kong. Checking the North American markets, the TSX on Friday gained 72 points. The Dow was down triple digits, but the Nasdaq was up just ever so slightly.
All right, glad you're with us on this chilly Monday morning. Let's get into some business news. In climate, conflict, a divided world, and the rise of artificial intelligence, they are on the list of global priorities at this year's edition of the World Economic Forum. It's a real gabfest for political, business, and other elites in Davos, Switzerland. Excuse me. Over 60 heads of states and government, including Israeli President Isaac Herzog and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, will be headed to town to hold both public appearances and closed-door talks. They'll be among more than 2,800 attendees, which also include academics, artists, and international organization leaders.
Now, the anti-poverty group Oxfam points out that some of the same billionaires at that Davos summit are the ones that are making global inequality worse.
We're in this situation where modern-day monopoly men have cornered markets from tech to pharmaceuticals to food, and this undermines ordinary people, workers, also small businesses. We need to dig deep into how corporations are driving inequality, from squeezing workers, dodging taxes, privatizing the state, and we can go into that. And it benefits one group above all, to go back to your question, and that's the ultra-rich at the very top.
Now, the group has released a new report profiling the divide between billionaires and the rest of society. Since 2020, the richest 5 men in the world have more than doubled their fortunes. During that same time period, almost 5 billion people around the world have become poorer. Oxfam says at the current rates, it'll take 230 years to end poverty. However, we could have our first trillionaire in a decade.
The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration says it will increase oversight of Boeing and audit the production of the 737 MAX 9 jetliner after last week's incident on the Alaskan Airlines. So that incident was just the latest in a string of mishaps at the troubled aircraft maker. The FAA said on Friday that it would judge whether Boeing and its suppliers followed approved quality procedures. The agency also indicated that it is reconsidering its long-standing practice of relying on employees at aircraft manufacturers to perform some safety analysis of planes. The move comes just a day after the FAA announced an investigation into whether Boeing failed to make sure the fuselage panel that blew off was safe and manufactured to meet the design that regulators approved.
Well, check your fridge, because the Canadian Food Inspection Agency is recalling several yogurt and parfait bowls over a possible salmonella contamination. The recall involves 34 products that are sold across Canada in grocery stores. The yogurt and parfait bowls contain Quaker brand granola, which was recalled last week because of possible exposure to salmonella. Depending on the product, the items have best before dates between January 12th and January 15th. The Food Inspection Agency says no illnesses linked to these products have been reported.
Okay, so that's a look at business news. We're going to take a break. Brian's going to come back, and yeah, if you're just waking up and you don't know, it is frigid out. The coldest day so far this year, and we're going to keep locked in that for the next couple. He'll have his full 7-day forecast right after this.
Good morning, 6:24. It is Monday, the 15th of January. Looking at our MTO traffic cameras right off the get-go, you can see we have it's a disabled vehicle, not a collision. So it's off to the side, but it's blocking the right lane as you head up the Skyway Bridge, Toronto bound, coming away from Eastport. So that is one problem that we have. Otherwise, QEW 406 looks good. Appleby line, nothing. Lorne Park, all the way through, even the 403 going through Mississauga is no problem this morning. 403 west of Winston Churchill. Brutally cold this morning, actually dangerously cold. That's why we issue a cold weather alert. Look at that temperature in Hamilton right now, minus 16 degrees. Remember a week and a half ago when everybody was saying, are we going to get winter this year? It's so mild. What's going on? All right, we got it. Minus 16, wind chill minus 26 at the moment. Dangerously cold, minus 13 Grimsby, minus 13 Mississauga, and minus 11 for Toronto. Seasonal temperatures, minus 2 for the daytime high. We will be nowhere near that for the day today. Minus 10 for the overnight low. Those are our sun times and our records for today. And for school today, we're only going to be minus 14 for the first bell, with a mix of sun and clouds, and then we'll climb to minus 11 later on, and again, we should have the sunshine throughout the day. So today, minus 10 will be the high, wind chill of minus 18, minus 13 overnight tonight, wind chill values once again down around the minus 20 degree range. Tomorrow, minus 20 will be the wind chill because the winds are going to be fairly strong during the day tomorrow, and a high of minus 9. Minus 8, minus 6 Wednesday into Thursday. Temperatures stay well below seasonal all the way through Thursday and Friday with some flurries. A sunny but cold weekend to come. That's your forecast. I'm Adam Kim.
Okay, well, listen, in Southern Ontario, the worst you might find under your house is, raccoon, a skunk, some sort of rodent like that. Well, a woman in California had something much bigger to deal with.
What are you doing? Out, out, and out. Bad bear.
Big bad bear.
Yeah.
Tina Herzog spotted this bear on her door cam early Saturday. When she saw it linger, she says she knew she had a problem. A missing window from a crawl space confirmed her fears, and it wasn't long until she spotted the bear.
Wow, big one.
Herzog says her and her family spent all day Saturday trying to cajole the bear out of the space, so they were banging pots and pans. They even cranked up the leaf blower. But in the end, it was mothballs that did the trick. She says as soon as she started tossing them into the crawl space, the bear left.
Okay, interesting.
I wonder if it's something to do with the smell of them?
Maybe. Good to know. Good to know. Okay.
Who has mothballs anymore?
That is true. Where do you get those? Do you buy them somewhere?
At a hardware store,
Yeah,
maybe?
I guess. Okay.
I don't know.
Monday. How you doing? If you're leaving, bundle up, as Brian has been telling us, and we're going to lock in this for the next little bit. So we'll check in with Simone Gavros, who's at warming centers in the city, making sure everybody stays safe with these chilly temperatures on a Monday.